Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here. It's day 2 of this lovely event, and it's concentrating on tourism. The topic of revenue management is an exciting one because it talks numbers, and that's what we all are excited to hear about. And when we talk about revenue management, a lot of different pillars come to point. One being the global consumer demand, second being growth potential of the country versus demand from the global market, and third being customer preference, customer behavior in tourist journey, let's say. A lot of different angles are addressed on that topic, and add to all that the technological part of it, the technological advancement in the tourism sector. Yesterday I was doing just a bit of research again, just to refresh my numbers, and something called World Travel and Tourism Council. They've just issued a report about the performance of the Saudi Kingdom in 2023. It was a staggering jump in terms of revenue. So according to the economic impact research, there's a 32% jump in expected revenue, which reached 444.3 billion riyals. That's really a wonderful number and a wonderful achievement for the country. And just so that we know, this amounts to 11.5% of the global Saudi economy. So just taking a bit pause on that point, 11.5% of the economy is just driven by tourism. That's a massive achievement for the country. So before we jump into all the intricacies and the strategies and all the different dynamics and the, let's say, difficulties in that area, let's ask a simple question to our great moderator, Salim and Mr. Muhammad. Let's take just a quick, I'll ask the team to introduce themselves and then we can start. So if you can please introduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Salim Al-Shahrani. I'm the managing director for the Royal Clock Tower, Fairmont Travels, Swiss Hotel Mecca and Swiss Hotel Maqam. We are basically managing one of the iconic building in Saudi Arabia, which is second page in every Saudi passport copy. So it's an honor for me to be with you for this panel. It's considered one of the largest complex as a hotel in the world. It consists of 7 towers, total number of rooms 7,000 room, and commercial podium 9 floors consist of around 400 shops.
Thank you. Muhammad, Tafadhal. Okay.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. My name is Muhammad Ali. I'm the Cluster Director of Revenue for the Ritz-Carlton Riyadh and Ritz-Carlton Jeddah. I graduated from Egypt and I started my journey in Egypt back 15 years ago. All the 15 years I have been working for Marriott. I work in Sharm el-Sheikh, and then I moved to Sultanate Oman, Bustan Palace, Ritz-Carlton in Oman. I stayed there for 5 years, and then I'm here in the kingdom for the past 7 years, looking after the 2 iconic, the Ritz-Carlton Riyadh and Ritz-Carlton Jeddah. I'm sure that you are aware of both of them. They are iconic hotels also in the kingdom. They are the face of the country when the country is hosting some mega events. And it's a pleasure to be with you today and to get interact with many of you as possible.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's start with a very important question. Why should we worry about revenue management? What's in it for us? I'll ask the question, Mr. Salim.
Okay. Revenue management, one of the fastest evolving role in hospitality industry. As far as the technology is driving revenue management, it keeps changing massively. So revenue management, it means you are capturing the right customer at the right price at the right time. So that is basically the definition of revenue management. If we look at the support of revenue management to the operation, it's one of the tools that help you to reach your customer. It gives you a clarity of direction for pricing strategy in order to reach your customer and take the right decision in terms of pricing and business mix and so on. Again, revenue management 25 years ago, it was not existing in the hospitality industry. It was just sales and marketing, and then front office, F&B, housekeeping, and rest of the department. And then from 2003, the revenue management introduced to the hospitality industry and start building a new way of managing the commercial part, which is revenue, sales, and marketing. So I think revenue management is one of the critical role in the hotel that's supporting total revenue, not only rooms revenue, no, it's total revenue as well. So after 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, most of the company or international operator start moving from being on fixed price to dynamic price, and then In 2006, they introduced the bar rate, which is best available rate. 2006, they introduced non-refundable rate, and then also rebate or rate. So this is how the evolution happened in revenue management. And lately in 2008, the meta search start getting more transparency about the pricing across all websites. By 2009 and 2010, Google start introducing the rate according to Google Map listing. So it is now evolving more and more. As far as the technology is there, I think revenue management is going to be one of the key pillars for the operation and for the strategic level for hotel budgeting, forecasting, and company growth as well.
Wonderful. I'd like to stay with you, Mr. Salim. I understand your message. It's very simple. If I can summarize it, finding the right spot in the market with the right pricing. That's what you're trying to summarize. What happens if we don't find, if we over or underprice? What happens to revenue management in that case?
Okay. Sometime revenue management, when they test the market, there is a terminology which called elasticity of the market. So you need to test the market and see what is your price point. If you exceed your price point, then the dilution will happen and the business will go to your competitors instead of going to your hotel. So there is a technique, there is a analysis, there is AI technology, there is tools that all the operators using today and to analyze the data and to be able to set the right price. They consider a lot of factors when setting price. They look at the seasonality, they look at the event calendar, they look at the business mix. So it is a lot of multiple factors that you consider when you set your pricing.
Okay, wonderful. We left you very little, Mohammed, but I'll answer the same question. What's your view on revenue management in light of what Mr. Salim mentioned?
I can't agree more with Mr. Saada when he said that it's important of the revenue management, but it is that science that, okay, if I can compare it to the pilot and the airplane, it has the dashboard has the details. But where is the revenue management part in here? It is that part in the brain of the pilot, which it tells him this value is high or low, where he should hit. Is it important for him to lose the speed or too fast? Where he's going to hit with the airplane. The importance of revenue management has been grown as has been said by Sir Mr. Shahrani. But the thing is that it is really critical right now. It's not only for the hotels, but also in the other firms. We are looking into the department where it can find the opportunity to grow further, the opportunity to uplift the revenue of the property or the top line of any property, any company, where to go, how to compete with the others, how to ensure that we are getting our fair share and exceeding in the market. This is important for all the industries, not only in the hotels, but it's important if I can link it with any other firms that think about it. Someone is going to sit and analyze all the data, the historical information of a property or of a company compared to the peers in the market. What could find as an opportunity? This is his role, is to enhance. If I'm making a 1 million real, how I can make it 1,100,000, how I can get it double. And furthermore, just how increase into the share of the property or the company compared to the others in the market.
Sounds great, but let me double click on one of the key points that you mentioned, the competition and the market access. So you are a pilot, I like that terminology, and you're flying your plane. Obviously, you're not competing in the sky, I know that, but when you're flying in your plane as a pilot, how would you recommend for those pilots to navigate the challenges of the competition? Because when you hear the word competition, it doesn't always mean just drop the price. There has to be different strategies. So how do you propose for the hotel revenue management leaders to navigate the challenge of the competition so that they can optimize revenues?
Everything we say in the revenue management is start with a trend. Even an untrend is a trend. So if you start analyzing your history, you will definitely be easy to predict your future, whether it's a revenue management or your normal behavior. If I'm a morning person or afternoon person, how you can optimize this information to get the best out of the person. So not to only influence the decision, but also to say, listen, this is what's expected from here. So this is the importance of reading the data, analyzing them, just putting all the confidence on the data. It will support you to go further for any company.
Okay, sounds excellent. Let me go back, Mr. Shahrani. What Mr. Mohammed mentioned seems interesting. He brings a regional view about the competition approach. Given your experience in the market, let's focus on Saudi. Do you approve, do you accept what he's saying? Do you have a different view about how to manage those challenges, those competition and optimizing revenues?
Basically, every hotel should also look at value propositioning. Today, if you are providing product and with added value of service, then this is what make the hotel strategy from top management is being created to position the hotel in the right spot, and therefore, once you have right positioning, you can look at the competitors around, and you can see their ceiling of pricing. You can see their competitive advantage, your competitive advantage as well, and then from there you are able to manage tactical and long-term strategy. Tactical depend on weekdays, weekend, depend on seasonality, depend on events calendar if there is a special events. So I believe the same concept is apply worldwide, not only in Saudi. It apply in Saudi, it apply outside. So the same concept of revenue management is applies, and I don't see there is any difference outside with inside.
Okay. Sounds good. But if I can zoom in, you mentioned an interesting keyword, which is basically the seasonal demand. Let me zoom in on that point. As we all know, we have seasonal demand in this country, be it Umrah or Hajj, or be it Riyadh season. So I'd like to localize that discussion. When we have such seasonal demands, how do you have a zoom-in tactical plan to cater for those seasonal demands?
In revenue management, there is a concept of forecasting. Forecasting, it's anticipating what could happen in the future and how your calendar event, how your forecasting will look like. And that is crucial. If you have the right forecasting tools like 360 demand or like Lighthouse reports, so you can have the right tools to assess the future demand. And based on the demand or forecast that you already apply in your system, the AI, which is doing most of the revenue management job today, it gives you the pricing. It tells you the price of which date, which event. So I can easily understand that I have someone who's like autopilot managing the system. On the other side, we have a right leader on revenue management who's managing tactical and see what is the business in the book, what is business tentative, what is the business definite. So there are many input that you always need to consider when you prepare your forecasting. And this is one of the most challenging part for most of the hotel. When you look at a monthly report that generated from the hotel to corporate office, they always ask for forecast accuracy. So they need the hotel not to exceed 5% below or above. So if you don't have forecast accuracy, then you're going to lose a lot of KPIs where end of the year you will lose a lot of benefits for the management and for the hotel. So the team within the hotel is working very closely to monitor and to look at the forecast and to be able to do the forecasting frequently. It's not once in a while you do it. No, you have to do it on a monthly basis. And sometimes there is 2 times submission per month.
Okay, wonderful. So there's no escaping AI. Everywhere I go, we find that AI is infiltrating our efforts. That's quite clear. What Mr. Shani mentioned is the usefulness of AI in order to determine the seasonal demand when we talk about seasonality in this country, such as we mentioned, the Al-Hajj season. Let me address the same topic, but from a different angle to Mr. Muhammad. How about consumer taste, consumer satisfaction? What's the, how do you drive the same knowledge based on what consumer like? Because obviously sometimes we cannot model this touristic behavior, maybe in AI, maybe we have a different angle. So how do you advise taking this information from Mr. Salim into your area by combining it with the consumer behavior?
If we open the subject of AI, I can a little bit talk about it. So basically when I started 15 years ago in the company back in Sharm el-Sheikh, it was that much difficult to know what's the price of everyone in the market before you decide your price. You have to look into different websites. Everyone, you track it manual until you get all the details. Then you think of your price, and this is taking a long time. Right now, the AI is helping us on collecting the data. If I want to remember what I did last year, or the historical information of the property for a certain day, it will take me some time. But the AI is supporting us right nowadays, collecting all the information in one place. So it's easy for me to trigger all the competitors in one page for the whole month, and then I can decide where I'm heading. I can even understand easily which competitors is sold out, what's happening in the market. I can influence with my sales team. If there is one of the competitors that is sold out, what's going on? If in the middle of the city, a couple of hotels that is sold out, that means there is something happening there. How can we benefit out of it? So it's easily you can get this information. The AI supported us a lot in terms of timing and even delivering some recommendation. Considering the question of Mr. Samer, the question is about the customer, and it's important that it's very critical because you are in the between. between the organization. You want to get the most out of the benefit of the customer to your organization. Meanwhile, you want to be fair when you're treating the customer. So there, when it will come to the segmentation part, segmentation, that means, okay, we put each selection of type of guest into one pocket, and then do our potential to pay this amount, the other's potential to pay the other. Let's explain it from a market like in Riyadh, where you have extremely high demand during weekdays. And when you break it down, you found that it's more about the business traveler coming to do business. So when they are coming to do business, their potential paying is different than when you are going with your family to attend for a leisure stay, whether you are celebrating your kid's birthday or your family, it's a honeymoon stay. So they have different needs in here and there. And then you put all these details in front of you, whether if it's a business traveler, how could potentially he be priced? And when I'm talking to a normal guest that is coming for a weekend stay, how much it could be potential? You study it from different triangle, from the economic, from the GDP of the country, from the type of business that those are business traveler coming to do. If I'm coming to us talking about very medium construction companies, it's completely different than consultancy that they are dealing with giga projects in the kingdom. They are very time importance for them, and the speed of work. It's all these details that it support the revenue management when taking the decision of the pricing, that it can be fair for the customer and for the firm we are supporting.
That's fair enough, but let me stay with you, because what you mentioned seems to have touched on the domestic demand, which is fine, and the requirement from the client side, which is again good. But it sounded like as if this is some sort of reactive. How about when you want to proactively go after the international let's say, client side? How easy or difficult it would be to do that segmentation?
That's a great question, actually, and I loved it because when I was talking in a different conference 2 months ago, and I was outside the kingdom, and we were somehow representing the kingdom. We have 3 important calibers here for any international traveler. Whether some of them is under construction, like Neom, Red Sea is about to come for a leisure destinations, and then Umrah and Hajj travel, which is Mecca and Medina, and then Riyadh and Jeddah mainly for the business travelers, the international ones. So if you're talking to any international customer, they will be between one of the 3 segments, whether they are coming for business from Riyadh. It has the potential for you. You can cite the deal for you in Riyadh. It's fast growing in terms of a business. Hajj and Umrah, of course, it's needed for everyone right now. 10 years ago, it was very selective, very different. In all the national third world economic countries, was very difficult to get into Hajj and Umrah. Today, with the facilitation, everyone will come. And right now, even you can see people coming 3-4 times a year. So this is because of the facilitation is coming. So when you are talking to them, we are still missing the third piece, which is under the construction part right now, is the resort areas that it can support the country to say, I have the 3 pillars of to mix the international travelers, whether they need the leisure, you need a business, and then they need Hajj and Umrah.
Wonderful. So he's starting to touch base on the advisory side of things, which is my area. Basically, the persona setting. When you start defining what personas are coming to countries, whether for pleasure, for business, what sort of business, when you start drilling down on the personas and you combine it with the development, then it gives you a big breadth of information you can target and then find the right people. But such discussion lead me to my next question to Mr. Shahrani, that, okay, now we have a lot of inputs, a lot of data, a lot of crunching of numbers. We understand AI could be useful, but again, it requires some sort of analysis from our side. So my question to you, Mr. Shahrani, how do you think we can leverage those advanced technology in order to dynamically maximize the revenue? You mentioned something about pricing. You mentioned something about finding the right prices. But to what extent such technology can help in that regard?
Okay, let me first elaborate of what Mohammed said regarding guest experience and how the revenue management link guest experience with the operation team. Today, the beauty of our system in the hotel, you have easy access to go through all the geo segments. So you know which nationality is staying at your hotel. You know their background, their preferences, so you can be able to, inform the operation team to anticipate the expectation of those guests and make customized service for this certain segment. Like Liberta, for example, they're one of the sponsors of this event, Be Smart Travel. Dr. Wissam, he's one of our biggest clients from Tunisia. When we understand that the tour series of this group coming from Tunisia, we customize the menu, we anticipate the expectation of Tunisian guests, and we tailor-made the service to meet their expectation. So it's very important. Revenue management should always communicate with the operation team and give them a heads up about the geo mix and business mix and even detail of the age of the clients you can have. So that is one part. The other part, which is your question, referring back to the maximizing revenue, optimizing. Today, most of the revenue management and sales focus on rooms, and they don't look at other revenue stream where it is very important to optimize. It's very important to look at it carefully. So the principle for the management is to look after total revenue. Total revenue means all revenue stream, laundry revenue, F&B revenue, room revenue, so meeting, events, so all the revenue stream, you need to look at it from holistic overview, and then you will be able to do a kind of tactical approach within the operation team. You can do upselling, you can do cross-selling, you can make a lot of tactical approach based on, for example, room category that you have. You need to classify the rooms, and you need to be able to give certain rate for certain room type in order to optimize your revenue. So total revenue, it's a general objective or for the management to achieve, and they have to look at it from different aspects. This is what basically the hotel is doing, and there are many technology that we are using. We are enabling incentive program for the staff, which is third parties managing the monthly goals, and they give incentive to the employees to encourage them for cross-selling and optimizing revenue. So AI is always a very important tool to help and to give direction. Revenue management today, they use system called IDEA. IDEAs is a system where anticipating setting price for next month and after 3 months and full year. So 365 days, you can see the rate available. It's not done manually. It's done by the system. It's done by AI. So the pricing is always changing based on the occupancy and the level of business.
So Mr. Shahani, in the beginning of his discussion and just now, reiterated the same concept that total revenue is not just selling rooms or even playing with room prices. There are other areas of revenues, as you mentioned, the food and beverage, the etc. etc. Let me stay on that point because it's a fantastic point to upsell and cross-sell, as he said it. And staying with you, how about services such as spa? How about services such as transportation, booking tickets and events? Does this fall under the total management, total revenue management?
It is under revenue management, and it is part of the, maybe I can share with you our effort, and we on daily basis looking into last night operation and figures. We are putting transportation revenue, we are putting upselling revenue, we are putting, so there is a track on daily basis. By end of the month, we look at the target, is it achieved or not? So yes, it is there.
Thank you. We kept you waiting a lot. Let me come back to you. Do you want to say something here?
This is important, yes. This one is really important. Usually, and not only in revenue management, at any decision we take, we should always look into the bigger picture. I might be doing this, my KPI is based on one, but this one is really 20% of the 100% importance of the entire organization, not only in a revenue management decision. So how important is this part? You look into the bigger picture, whether it's optimization, always optimal revenue. We call it optimal revenue. What could be the highest we can gain for the organization? Whether if we take the rooms part only, catering part, this transportation, how can we mix and package all of them? How can we get the best out of this? Because when we compete with our competitors, we look into all these data factors. If we do total revenue higher than them or lower, this is an important one. So looking at the bigger picture will always draw a conclusion, whether for revenue management or even in an operational part. It's a bigger picture role for everyone in the management.
But let's be fair here, Mr. Muhammad. You do realize you're putting way more pressure on hotel leaders in revenue management because now you're adding the angle of total revenue, which is fine. But then you mentioned earlier the idea of the likes of Neom and Red Sea and Qiddiya coming to the play. And those iconic projects by PIF definitely can offer way more from the total revenue management than what we're discussing today. So how do you foresee the impact? For example, let's say I'm one of the senior management in one of the hotels in Riyadh in South the country, and I'm looking at the total revenue as Mr. Saleh mentioned, but I'm foreseeing those developments. How afraid should I be in such development like Neom, like let's see, from a total revenue standpoint? Will this affect me or not, and why?
It will benefit to the current markets like Riyadh or central of Saudi Arabia or into the Biligram areas. The thing is that right now we have our certain segmentations which is ongoing, whether they're coming for business or for leisure. But the new segments that is going to come, it's targeting first is regional. So all the GCC countries, rather than they are traveling abroad to go to Maldives or any Far East country, they would be coming into the Red Sea. and this is important for them. So this is a new market for them. We are not seeing that much they will come back to Riyadh or Jeddah or for Breakland, because it's easy trip for them. 2 hours they can come for Riyadh, or 2 hours to go to Mecca or Medina. But what we are potentially waiting for is that this overflow that will come from European markets, international markets, they are coming mainly for the leisure part, so they are not affecting. It's a new businesses coming to those areas. Then we will start influencing them. Can you come to a country and then you don't visit the capital? And if they are Muslim, it is a one-time travel for them to come for the leisure part, which is by Neom or Red Sea, and then they go for Umrah or Hajj right after, whether this is beginning or after. So it's going to benefit. It's a new demand centers. It's not going to eat from the current demand. Definitely no. It is different criteria, but it would influence us that we can get a little bit more. The good thing that about them, even because they are starting from very high end, with the 5th generation as an Yom or Red Sea, they are starting at very high pricing point, which it can make easy for Mecca or Riyadh or Jeddah to say, listen, if you stay 2 nights more, it would equal 1 night at Red Sea, and you will be visiting 2 cities instead of 1. This is how we can sell it to the international markets.
Fine. I don't know if you agree, Mr. Shahrani, what he's saying, that it seems there's no direct impact on the current businesses. You are running your own hospitals, your own hotels, you're running your own line of hospitality. Do you think that there's an impact of the development of Neom or Qiddiya or all these big projects from a total revenue standpoint on your development?
I believe yes. Today, it's an anchor for getting a new demand to the market. So I don't think someone planning to visit, for example, Red Sea, and have option to go Mecca or Medina, if he's a Muslim, he will not go. It is going to add, value to our business. It will help us to get more traffic to the country. And Saudi Arabia is one of the, undiscovered, sightseeing that people doesn't visit, doesn't look at it, like what is happening in Egypt or Dubai. So I think I met one of the audience today, and she said I was in Asir last year, and it was amazing, and she liked it. So it means there are so many places in Saudi will be interesting for those visitors who visit Neom or visit Red Sea to go to come across and visit.
Wonderful.
Al-Ula is very close to Red Sea, so I don't think they will not get share of this travelers to visit Al-Ula, for example.
I like it. That's positive thinking. Always find the opportunity in those travelers. That's wonderful thing. Thank you so much. Let me stay with you. We all know that, alhamdulillah, the country has been blessed with upcoming wonderful events. The Riyadh Expo, the Olympiads, even the football tournament globally. These are major mega events can happen soon. So in your opinion, Mr. Salim, do you think, how best do you think from a revenue management standpoint, we can prepare the current Saudi tourism industry to leverage those events coming forward?
I think with the current hotel that we have, we are not ready yet.
Okay.
Because the expectation is very high, and the demand will be much more than the supply. So I'm encouraging all the investors now to invest and to build hotels and to go quick as much as they can to accelerate the construction and make this hotel ready. Potentially there is a big growth and there is a demand. So I believe it's important to anticipate such event like Expo, like World Cup, any expected event might happen. We have to be ready from different stakeholders, operator, investor, and authority. So all of us will work together in order to achieve the optimum in terms of leaving those visitors with guest experience and a good impression, good facility in place. So this is
Thank you. So there's a potential. That's what Mr. Shah is saying. And if you're an investor out there, you can leverage that position. There's a lot of room for investment growth. That's a good opportunity. I'd like to address one more topic, which is from a technical standpoint. When you start playing with prices of the rooms, you may risk, let's call it, alienating some of your clients because they're used to you paying X amount, and they've suddenly find out that your rate is spiking. So question to you, Mr. Muhammad, how do you balance basically the dynamic pricing to optimize revenues, to make you profitable, to make you more successful, and customer loyalty?
Yes, definitely. Dynamic pricing is a fair selling point, I call it, for both, whether it's a guest or for the company. When there is a high demand, which is usually the revenue management, they love the high demand where they can filter who's the highest paying, and then the low demand. So if there is an event that everyone would love to attend, then there you can have the opportunity to make the dynamic decisions that you will give a percentage out of your bar rate to certain what's it called, partners or contractors. You give them the dynamic, so whenever you grow, it will grow with you. And this is mainly targeting the top line, that it will increase your or enhance your positioning of revenue by making a dynamic decision. You don't need to think too many times. If you have 100 contracts going around, one of them, let's say 20% from your bar rate, but you would regret if you don't have a dynamic at this point, that you will be underselling your property to a certain company or to a certain contractor. Yes, there is a great value of having long-term relationship, but also it's important that you get the optimal revenue out of those type of events. It's important to have fair treatment for both of them. One person is growing, but the other is not, or the organization is not growing where you are serving. So it's important the dynamic is supporting everyone, see the demand, and then start to trigger the price where can capture the optimal revenue during the high demand days, and then tackle the days where it is really low demand by giving realistic prices. Look into the airlines. If you are traveling at 2 a.m., they're giving you a very low price compared to if you are a business traveler and traveling at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning. Why? They know that it's important for you, you don't want, but if it's not really urgent for you to travel at 6 a.m. in the morning, come at 2 a.m. and then we'll give you almost half a price. We all see these prices in terminology from the airlines, and this is the same for the hotels. So this is the importance of having dynamic. It's easy. You fill the empty seats during the need days, and then during the high days that you can get the optimal revenue.
It's all about money for Mr. Muhammad, definitely, how to optimize it. That's fine. I'll come to your point. I think that you're covering a lot on the B2B side. I want to give you the chance, Mr. Sam, to comment on him, but also maybe tailor it on the B2C side, if you can.
I'm also going to touch B2C. Today, if I ask you what was the car price 5 years ago, and what was the mobile price 5 years ago, and today, so definitely the price has to change. Why only the hotel room should remain at the same rate since 5 years? I don't think this is fair. So we have to look at the inflation. We have to look at the cost of operation. We have to look at multiple factors that if the repeated customer doesn't want to pay the increase that we apply, I'm sorry, I cannot afford to remain at a static rate for many years. I think this is a principle that not anymore exists, because people now understand the B2C and the dynamic price, how it works. If you are planning to travel 6 months from now, you will go to the website and start booking, because the price will be very low. But if you book 1 day before your arrival, definitely the price will be totally different. So the dynamic price, it is more, and B2C is now acquiring big share. For example, Mecca, Medina, B2B was dominating the market. It was almost 90%, 85% from the business was B2B. But today, B2B is representing 45%, and B2C is representing 55%. So imagine what is the difference and how we are gaining out of this mix. I think B2C is important, and also B2B is important as well. I'm not criticizing. This is one of the important segment that we take care and we look after, but we need to balance it.
It's a fair point. I don't say no. It's a very much fair point. Again, this topic is very exciting because it has a lot of parameters, a lot of different factors. Let me add one more factor to the discussion here, which is basically the stretching the demands and the revenue management for online agencies, for third parties, for other agencies that can support the hotels. Because you don't always go to hotel and book. You may book via Expedia.com, via almusafir.com, etc., etc. So let me say with you, Mr. Salim, with such a proliferation of multiple distribution agencies, how do you maintain the right balance between the direct B2C, as you describe it, and the other players in the market?
Okay, OTA exists in the market 2007 to compete OBIC, and when they exist, they introduce their system, and they added value by creating package, which is a ticket plus hotel room, so the room rate is sealed somehow. And then the hotel start with their PMS link interface with OTAs. So today, if you look at OTA, it's B2C business as well. There are a lot of individual customer booking through Booking.com, Expedia, and a lot of websites, brand.com. So I think it's important tool to leverage your digital marketing, because the future today is for digital marketing.
Yes.
So we need to think differently. We need to stop the thinking of salesman to go and to visit companies and to knock the door and traditional sales visit. I don't think it's now or in future it will not be anymore exist. So digital transformation is there, and a lot of digital work should be executed within the operator and customer also perception. If you look at your mobile, you spend maybe 6-7 hours a day watching your mobile. So you can see the hotel, you can see the ticket, you can see the car rental, you can shop, you can ask for hunger station, food, whatever. I mean, digital now is leading, and it is going to be the new generation, paper to use and to.
Thank you. I see that you're excited to jump here.
Yes, because I remember when it was B2C only, back before the revenue management, and then introduced, so hotels, they don't sell directly. It was mainly to travel agencies. They are selling the hotel, and in many times they are the one to put the rules. So imagine this is my property and someone else is going to put the rule for me. This is the price gross for next year. This is what it could happen. Then later the hotels thought of it. First of all, it came the OTAs, as Mr. Salim was saying. The OTAs start to show online, and then people start to going www online, and then apps start to coming up. So it started to take some share from the B2C business until to go to the OTAs. And then hotels thought of it, okay, why don't we have our own way until to do B2B, direct from me to the customer? Because the customer, he comes to me, I serve him, get a great service, experience in the hotel, and then they leave, and then later on, he will come back again. So why intermediary in between? And this is get us to the point, what hotels could give to the customer in order to encourage them as add values to get directly rather than going through travel agency or through the OTAs. Actually, it is a love-hate story. We cannot terminate them. It is part of the business, but they are there and they are getting good share. And it exists, but the hotels would love also to see a growth in their direct business because it will save some cost for the hotels. So they start creating the loyalty programs. And loyalty programs right now, it became very famous for everyone. You start to put an app in your brand or telephone, whether it's for a hotel or it's for airlines or for anything, and you start chasing points behind each. And then when you are growing in your levels, they are treating you differently. This is all start to get the direct business to the hotels and then to grow digital and to give them the add values that it support the customer to drive direct business compared to third parties.
Fair enough. He mentioned, my colleague Mr. Muhammad, on the loyalty program, and definitely it's in one of the areas. If I can relate that point to what Mr. Saleh mentioned, the idea that the B2B has shrank down to 45% while the B2C is going way more higher. Let me take those, highlight those 2 points to you. How would loyalty be useful in that context now that we have more B2C, and what sort of ideas you can propose for loyalty program to grow the total as well?
Loyalty program today is important for all international operators, and when they start negotiating with any investor, the simple question from the investor: what is your conversion in your loyalty program? So if the loyalty program doesn't contribute a lot to the brand, so why the investor has to select X, Y, Z from the operators? So I believe the loyalty program is important because it is one of the key elements for increasing the revenue, and it's been now a big competition between all the company. You see the contribution start from 15% to 20 to 29 to 28% conversion from loyalty program, and that is evidence that this loyalty program, if it's not added value, the customer will not hold, will not take it with him. So there are lots of benefit out of being enrolled to this loyalty program, and then they can redeem the point, they can get an upgrade, they can get discounted rate in a promotional basis. So definitely a loyalty program is very supporting B2C, and it is also one of the most important element for the operator to invest and to look at it.
Can you shed some more lights on the loyalty, Mr. Salim? What are more ideas than just the rebate? Rebate is a wonderful idea, no doubt, but can you provide some more ideas about the loyalty programs? What are the different ideas that we can add on this topic?
I mean, earning point and redeem points, yes. Today it's been expanded, not anymore just only room. You can redeem your point on shopping mall. So I think you can redeem your point getting ticket. So there are lots of options today for the card holder to utilize these points and to retain loyal to the company.
Thank you. Want to say something here?
Yeah. I pay my internet bill through the points, so I imagine the loyalty programs has enhanced a lot. Okay. It's a great tool. It's a great tool for everyone. It is the thing that it tells, why should I go direct with you rather than going to a third party? How you are going to propose. It's like a marriage proposal. How you want to have this marriage proposal done. This is each firm role is to think of it. What kind of add values that I can give to my loyal customer that when he's traveling to X city, he's staying only in my hotel. So this is you put in front of you. It is a marriage proposal. What could you put in terms of benefits for your customer to keep them growing with you only?
Okay, thank you. There's a topic that we cannot miss, and it's important these days. We may have heard that now anyone can own a property in Saudi and anyone can rent that property. It's no longer just a localized approach. So anybody can basically become part of this ecosystem. Plus the idea of having the Airbnb as one of the potential expansion growth in that country. This is a massive competitive force that is happening in this country. So a question to Mr. Salim, how do you see the idea of renting on or Airbnb affecting the business of in total revenue?
I think it's healthy to have this business exist because it's anyway existing anywhere globally. So the customer profile who's attached with luxury and attached with the loyalty program for the brand, I don't think he's going for Airbnb. So this is a segment, maybe they need to look at how local live and test the local experience. And I don't know to what extent we are ready to that, but there are a lot of approach, and there are a lot of business start now with Airbnb. The only part which is important is regulation that need to be taking place in order to make proper governance for the industry.
I like the positive. There's always positive and opportunity to explore. One last question. Let me start, Mr. Muhammad. Based on all the wonderful and diverse topics that we discussed today, what are your thoughts from a total revenue standpoint moving forward for the audience?
First of all, in Saudi Arabia, there are so many hotels, hundreds of them. I don't have a statistic to tell right now, but how many hotels? If we compare the number of hotels with the number of revenue management, whether it's manager, executive, or director in the field, completely, you will find 80% of the hotels, they don't have revenue management team. And this is my point to the audience. Think of your organization, whether a hotel or not a hotel. Do you have that person who can just sit and start studying your trends, start studying opportunity to grow, and this is how to grow. This is for organization, but for myself also, it's the same role I do it. How I can get the best out of me. It is the same, using the same methodology of revenue management, enhancing my time, doing all those stuff to my own. It will extra benefit me, whether financial or for a time that I can spend it. So collecting all the data, analyzing them, getting the right decision out of them for myself, for my organization, and for those hotels that they are losing opportunity to grow money. It is good time for you, especially here in Saudi Arabia nowadays, when the demand is high, you could get more, you can do more. One person cannot go and sell online and then go to sell to the customer and then go to meet in the operation, but you need someone that his focus is to find the opportunity where to grow and then give you the recommendation as a leadership in the hotel or in the company.
Thank you. The last word for you, Mr. Salim. What are your final thoughts on that topic to the audience?
Okay, in 2022, global spending for distribution service reached to $2 trillion from different goods, not only hotel. So the future today, it's for the distribution. The future is for digital, and I think this is where your product can reach your customer easy. So try to invest as much as you can and look at the distribution differently. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Please join me to thank those wonderful panelists for the amazing discussion. Thank you all for being here.